Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for coming over. My name is Arik Shtilman, and I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Rapyd. And the goal of this session is basically to explain how you can do faster everything with AI. So Rapyd is a company that has already been around for 8 years. Can't even believe that I'm saying that, even though we're still calling ourselves a startup. We've been around for 8 years, and we rose from 0 in revenue to more than $1 billion this year in revenue over the last 8 years. But still, we're trying to keep our startup mentality, and still we're trying to do things fast and build them fast. And I think that I've never been so excited from technology since probably the invention of the internet. When I saw it for the first time, it's like 1995. Now I'm more excited than what I was in 1995 when I saw the internet as a kid because of AI. And the goal of this session is mainly to explain to people that AI is something that forces you to think differently as an organization. So, first of all, implementation with AI, right? A lot of people are talking about it, and in this presentation, I want to talk about some of the myths around implementations of AI and also about the interesting things that are working well for some organizations that are implementing it the right way. So there are 3 things in this presentation that I want to cover. First of all, why every business is getting AI wrong at the current stage. So it's a little bit broad definition. I'm sure that there are some businesses that are getting it right, but the majority of the businesses on planet Earth are getting it wrong. By the way, it is very similar to the introduction of the internet, when the majority of the business on planet Earth did not understand the impact of the internet on their own business. Second thing that I want to cover in this presentation is how Rapyd is getting it right, because I'm sure it's going to impact the way that your organizations are actually thinking about AI, and I think it's very worthwhile sharing because it is transforming the world today. And the third thing is how you can build faster everything with AI across your organization. Now, everyone is talking about AI, but no one is really transforming anything, right? You see every single CEO on every single company is talking about AI. You see the Klarna CEO talking about the fact that he eliminated customer support with AI. You see some other CEOs that talk about it. There is a lot of noise in the market from CEOs around AI implementations, especially in public markets, because they believe it's going to impact valuation and stock. But at the end of the day, the talking in the majority of the cases, and by far in the majority of the cases, is not transformed to anything that is really transformable for the organizations. And I think this is the key thing around AI implementations that people need to understand. AI is not a feature that you add to your organization. It is actually something that transforms your organization completely. And if you don't wake up and do something about it, probably most of the chances that your organization will not exist in a 5 to 7 year time frame. So all these big buildings that we see in London with huge companies, banks, insurance companies, financial institutions, tech companies that are not built on AI, there will be this day that you will wake up in the morning and the building is going to be empty, mainly because the CEO did not wake up on time and did not understand the impact. Now, the hard thing about AI is doing it for real, right? Everybody has POCs. Everybody's doing a POC, everybody's doing a pilot, a beta, whatever you want to call it. But by far, almost nobody is actually doing it right and getting into a situation that the organization is using it in reality, real-life implementation, something that transforms the business. So the stat says that 77% is trying, only 26% is succeeding, and even in the 26% that is succeeding, probably less than 10% are actually doing something that is extremely meaningful for the organization. And it's something like super important to understand around AI implementation, that trying, it's not the way to implement AI, because anybody can do a pilot, put 1 or 2 engineers to use GPT, OpenAI, or whatever you want to use on your AI stack. But this is not implementing AI. It's playing a game and trying to show somebody that you're trying to do something. And also giving ChatGPT licenses to your sales team, marketing team, or giving Copilot licenses to your engineering team. It's not AI implementation. It's just giving them a tool like email, like Slack. It's not transformable. It's just a tool. And this is why the majority of the organizations basically are doing it wrong. Now, Everybody's talking about how quickly AI is being adopted, right? And a lot of people are familiar with this slide that shows the adoption of the internet versus the adoption of the AI, right? And you see here over a 30-year time frame how the internet evolved from almost no adoption to, in 2004, pretty much, to an adoption of around 10%. 50%, sorry, of the organizations and people. On the other hand, you see AI, and you see how quick the adoption of AI that started just several years ago, and how fast it went up in 2025. And everybody are talking about this slide and about the adoption of AI, mainly because tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and etc., because they call it AI adoption. And they say, wow, it changed everything. Look how fast it is being adopted. It's going to grow faster than the internet. But this is actually the wrong way to look at it, and it's pretty much a mistake, because it's not about just using it. It's about using it the right way, right? It's not email. It's not it's not WhatsApp. It's not Slack. It's not one of these tools that you just use in order to say, oh, I used it because it saved 5 minutes of my day because my search is easier and I don't use Google, but I move to ChatGPT. That's not the right way to look at AI. For me, as a CEO of a tech company that has been around for 8 years before AI became a thing, everything changed a couple of years ago when I understood that AI is not a feature, right? A lot of people think that AI is a feature. So the CEO goes to the product team and says, build me AI features into my product. Or the CRO is coming to the IT team and telling them, my sales team needs AI capabilities inside the CRM system. But this is thinking like implementing a feature. And at the end of the day, the thing that hit me 2 years ago is that AI is not a feature, because even though I'm a CEO of a tech company that grew from $0 to $1 billion in revenue, that has a very high valuation, and it's purely built on tech, my understanding of AI is that if you think about AI as a feature, there is somebody sitting in a garage or in a small office somewhere that is now going to build a similar company to mine. But the difference is going to be that his company is going to be built on top of AI, and my company is going to add AI as a feature, which means that if he builds his company on top of AI, I will be out of business in 5 years, because there is no way that I will be able to compete by just putting in AI capabilities inside my existing product as a feature, while somebody else is literally using AI completely from the ground up. And this changes completely what I thought about AI. And this leads me to this slide. And this slide explains to you what's the difference between thinking about AI as a feature versus understanding that AI is the product that you sell. This is a slide that explains how the internet wiped out huge businesses. For example, the CEO of Blockbuster, Sears, Yellow Pages, and taxi stands, they thought that they need a website when the internet was invented, because, oh, now people can also use my services online, not only offline, so I need to build a website. On the other hand, you see a list of companies that today dominate the world, Netflix, Amazon, Google, Uber, that understood that the internet is not a feature, the internet is the product. And they completely wiped out of business Blockbuster, Sears, Yellow Pages, taxi stands, because they're understanding that the internet is not a website. It's actually a different way of thinking, is something that only the people on the right understood, and the people on the left woke up one day with no business. And this is exactly what's going to happen to every single business on planet Earth if they will think that AI is a feature, that AI is ChatGPT that is replacing Google, or Gemini that is replacing Google search, or whatever you want to call AI today. So this slide is a critical slide that every single person that wakes up in the morning, they need to understand when they think about AI. For us at Rapyd, building on AI is not building on BS, right? And a lot of people are talking about it, but at a certain stage, we need to cut the bullshit and get directly to the point. And the point is that if you're not building everything on top of AI, then you're lying to yourself, you're lying to your employees, you're lying to your clients, and at the end of the day, you're probably going to be out of business. So we're not building AI into the business, we're building completely the business on top of AI, and that's a critical thing that is in the mindset of the CEO and goes down and cascades all the way to any employee in the organization, that AI is not here to help you, We're building basically the entire business on top of AI. And why is it different? Because there is a huge difference that every single department in your organization will plug in AI as a bolt-on feature, like you see on the left side of the screen, versus having AI as a full stack, and everybody is feeding from this AI across your entire organization. And if you look at Rapyd, which is a company that is in the payment space, in financial services, for us, creating this AI stack that actually learns everything about our business, helps us to assist products, operations, compliance, sales, and marketing with the same knowledge, with the same set of processes, with the same agents that are running across the board. It's a completely different story than going to my product team and telling them, please implement for me a feature that will add a chatbot based on AI or something like this, because this is nonsense. And this is a little bit technical slide, let's call it this way, but it's more a transformational slide that explains to you the way that you need to think around AI in your organization. Now, if product is leading your AI transformation, you're doing it wrong, right? And I have nothing against product people. I'm a tech person. I was product, I was engineering, I'm now a CEO. But AI is not a product-led initiative. Like, the way that people sometimes think about it is exactly like the CEO of Blockbuster told his product team, go build a website. He just told them, go build a website. And what product did? They built an amazing website for Blockbuster. But then Netflix came in and they built their entire system right on the internet. So giving it to product as a task is doing it wrong. CEOs cannot delegate revolution. The revolution of AI is so big that people still are not understanding the impact on every single thing that they do in the day-to-day. And if you want to be successful, it depends on the CEO leadership. The CEO needs to take the responsibility for the AI. There is no reliance on product teams or AI labs or third-party vendors, okay? With all due respect to all these different things, these are features. You don't need to think as a feature. The CEO needs to take direct ownership, top-down, with fast execution. And when I say fast execution, I mean very simple. If you don't see results in 2 weeks, something is wrong. Right? If you go now to ChatGPT and you ask him some questions, you get amazing responses and you're like blown away. Wow, it's amazing. I've never seen something like this. But a lot of people and a lot of CEOs and a lot of product organizations, they take AI into the organization and then they say, oh, we need to plan it. It's in the roadmap. We'll release it as a feature. It will take us 3 months. We will do something. No, that's wrong. If you don't see impact of AI on your business in 2 weeks, every time you try to do something, it means that you're not trying, you're not using AI the right way, and especially you're afraid. And being afraid is the wrong way when a revolution like this is arriving. You need to basically embrace it and take it, because otherwise, and sorry for being a broken record, you will be out of business. This thing will arrive, and it doesn't matter how big and how strong you think the organization is. Everything that is AI-driven at the end of the day will be more powerful, faster, and definitely more efficient than anything that is not built on top of AI. Now, I want to give you some results, right? And not only BS in slides and some, pep talks about AI, but actually to show you some results. So first of all, for us as a financial services organization, we build a full stack AI layer that everything inside the organization is communicating with. Doesn't matter if it is sales, marketing, support, compliance, risk, and anybody else inside the organization. But the first use case that I want to show you as an example is basically compliance, right? One of the biggest challenges that exist in financial services, it is very human-driven task of reviewing documents, checking transactions, reviewing passports, understanding connections between contracts, understanding different rules and regulations. And Rapyd is a company that operates in 106 countries across the globe. So we have 106 different regulators, 106 different rules, currencies, requirements, banks that we work with. Not a single human that works at Rapyd can actually understand all the 106 different countries that we operate in and the impact on every single piece inside the organization that has any change there, right? The AI stack can, because we thought the AI stack, everything, We fed it with all the information. And now the AI stack is basically capable of making decisions in seconds, sometimes in several minutes, depending on the complexity, and actually navigate us inside the complexity of financial services globally. And what I want to show you here is just a very simple example of transforming compliance function from being, let's call it AI as a feature, or not even AI, to AI built on top of AI, right? And what we did, we basically took very heavy processes that we had, that 70% of the applications that we had that are coming from clients had to go at the end of the day to manual review of people, even though we're a tech company and even though we implemented a lot of rules and capabilities, still a lot of things flew into these manual processes because of the complexity, because of language barriers, because of not understanding on the tech level the link between different documents, not understanding structures of ownership. There are endless amount of things that you cannot understand unless you're like a super intelligent computer. And we took this process of basically application submission by clients, reviewing applications, linking bank accounts, doing credit underwriting, and 70% of it went to analysts. And what we did, we actually changed completely the way that we work, and we moved to rule-based self-auditing agents that are actually reviewing everything based on what we taught them across all the jurisdictions that we operate in. They're finding the missing documents, they're communicating with the clients and asking them for new documents, they're understanding the context. Sometimes they even understand that a specific document might not be required because we have another document. They do it in multi-language, in more than 50 different languages, including things like Georgian that blew our brain away completely. Reviewing PDF files, contracts, passports, everything, and no coffee breaks, no nothing. Just operating non-stop. And the results are actually mind-blowing, right? What you see here, this is the results that we go through from October 24 up until April 25. 86% of the applications are now reviewed completely by AI in less than 1 day. And when I say less than 1 day, I actually mean average time is 35 minutes. So that's 35 minutes, and sometimes it's a little bit more because the AI agent goes back to the clients and is asking for the clients for some more information. But this is the transformation, and you can see the chart. Every single day that this thing is working, it is getting better and better and better. And this is why I said that if you don't see results in 2 weeks, you're doing something wrong. So that's an amazing impact on our organization. Another thing that is quite amazing is everything that is related to building fraud rules, right? Fraud rules are invented, there are fraud engines and there are a lot of things that people use in order to prevent fraud in financial services. But at the end of the day, there are humans that are writing the rules. And one of the main challenges there is how do you explain to a human how to build a good rule? Now, we got to a situation that we implemented AI, that the AI can actually take an input that is written by our risk team in free text. For example, please raise an alert in case we have a client that is based in Bulgaria, but their consumers are coming from Southeast Asia countries, and they transact in more than 5 different payment methods, 6 times a week in more than $100,000. I want to get an alert. This is a very complex rule to build unless you're an engineer that you're now going to code it. And we got to a situation that basically we have an AI layer that gets this input from the risk team and just build the rules automatically into our code base with an amazing success factor, because at the end we taught the AI agent how to write code inside the fraud engine, and he just gets input in free text and turns it into something that has a huge impact. And that's another huge transformable thing for us as a financial services company. There are a lot of other things, right? We're talking about lead qualification that is done with AI, because at the end of the day, the AI stack that we have knows everything about our business. So when a lead comes in, you don't need really an SDR that will talk to a sales engineer, that will talk to a salesperson to understand if we can actually support digital good merchants that is coming from the UK and wants to do business in Mexico, and what are the tax implications of this type of structure. It's too complex for people. The AI engine knows. It gives you immediately answers and helps lead qualification. Context automation. Marketing team is using AI to create hundreds of articles in the time that it used to take them to create 5 articles, because not only the AI engine knows everything about our business, it's also intelligent enough in order to write things in a very commercial-oriented way. And there are a lot of different use cases around it. But at the end of the day, the key thing around AI is to basically understand that products, services, marketing, sales, all these teams add AI, but engineering is the one that unleashes AI. So the process of actually implementing a successful AI is to take an engineer, sit them next to the people that are actually doing the work, map out the process, and then let the engineering team to do its work without too many barriers, without too many roadmaps, without all the complexity around it, and they will be able to unleash for you results, typically in a matter of days, but if they don't do it in 2 weeks, there is something wrong. And you need to rethink and try again and again and again, and it's getting better extremely fast every time you try it, and not being afraid of actually doing it. So to summarize it, the CEO AI playbook from my perspective, right? If it is not CEO driven, it's dead. And you need to take into consideration that not only because of corporate politics and the way that things are cascading down, it is dead. It is dead because AI is not the feature. It is the product that your organization sells. And the products that you have today are becoming features on top of the AI stack that is transforming the world. Second thing is that AI is not a product-led initiative. It's an organization CEO-led initiative. The pain in the process to identify is basically the pain to send the engineers to solve, right? And build fast and be agile. And no roadmaps, no planning, no thinking, no designing. Just build it, and it will solve for you the problem. And last slide, if you actually want, this entire session was generated by AI as a podcast. And I'm not joking. So if you just scan this QR code, you will get directly to a podcast that was generated by AI tools that took these slides and turned it into a conversation between me and a moderator. And that's another example, by the way, of how AI can shorten the life cycle of marketing and simplify things. Thank you very much.